Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Bleach arc review. Today I'm going to be talking about the second part of the Thousand Year Blood War, or the second act of the arc, which is primarily Ichigo's training in the Soul Palace, the invasion of the Vandenreich for the second time, and everything but the rain. So getting started off with the positives, I thought that the Soul Palace training was really cool for the most part. Going through the different members of the Zero Division and learning about their different contributions to Soul Society. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember any of their names except for Ichibe, but it's pretty cool. Like, you have the one person that created the hot springs, the really hot lady that created the mod souls. Or did she create the mod soul? I don't remember. She created, like, the things, the little candies they eat for when they go into the human world. You've got... I don't remember exactly what, but the lady with, like, all the robot arms. I'm pretty sure she created, like, the Shuhakusho or something. Yeah. You have the creator of the Zanpakuto, and then you have Ichibe, who named everything in Soul Society, if I remember that correctly. Like, he at least named the Zanpakutos, didn't he? Nah, he named everything, I think. So that was really good for, like, world-building stuff. I feel like world-building is something that Bleach is generally very lacking in. So it's very nice when we get treated with some stuff like that. And overall, I found that each of the members of the Zero Division were very interesting and entertaining characters. But I will discuss the Zero Division further at a later time. And also, Ichigo obtaining his true Shikai, I just thought that was really a good part of the arc, with him talking with Zangetsu and finding out that the Zangetsu that we see earlier on in the series is really the trace remnants of Ichigo's Quincy heritage, which is why he looked like Yuha, which was not... It was somehow something I didn't notice until they pointed it out. I somehow never noticed that Zangetsu looked like Yuha. So I guess that just goes to show how dense I am. But yeah, I thought that whole little sequence was really good. Now, this deserves its own category. Kenpachi versus Unohana, holy shit. That was probably one of the best fights in this series. It's one of the two best fights in this whole arc, honestly. So I just thought that the whole thing was great. I don't know if I can really put it into words. I just thought that the whole dynamic between the two of them while they were fighting was really awesome. And oh my god, is Unohana's Bankai cool. I'm not sure what it does. Like, does it totally reconstruct people and then brings them back at 100% condition? Is that what it does? I don't know. The release was awesome. The release for Minazuki was fucking creepy. Unohana is terrifying. And Kenpachi got a lot of great development out of this fight, of course, unlocking Nozarashi. Just all of the character stuff. Kenpachi, unfortunately, hadn't gotten very much in the way of development since Soul Society, really. Like, after getting beaten by Ichigo, he hadn't really had much in the way of development since then. Which kind of applies to a lot of the characters anyway. But that's besides the point. I just thought it was all really great stuff. Another thing is seeing Kyoraku as head captain. He really rocks that eye patch, I gotta hand it to him. It's weird seeing him without it now. But he gets a lot of great characterization seeing him running the Gotei 13. Just stuff like that. I thought it was all really great. Basically seeing him inherit the position of his adoptive father, and the way that his management of things differs from Yamamoto. It's really good for distinguishing him as a character. It's always really nice when you have someone who's been in this one position for a large part of a story, and we become accustomed with the way that they sort of handle things, and having a new person come in and actually see in significant ways how the differences in their personalities affects how they manage things. It's always really good to see. Kyoraku not really giving as much of a shit about tradition or his own pride in the way Yamamoto did, and that ended up causing a lot of problems for Yamamoto. like, Yamamoto would probably never try and sacrifice either Unohana or Kenpachi to make one of them stronger. And it just goes to show the sort of sacrifices that he's willing to make. Basically, we're going to pit two of our strongest captains against each other after losing someone who was basically the strongest consistent member of the Gotei 13. I don't want to say the strongest person in Soul Society, because, you know, we have Ichibei. But Ichibei's up in the Soul Palace for like a million years, so the strongest person who's been around everything going on for like the last 2,000 years, after just losing him, we're going to have to trade in one of our other strongest captains to make the other one way stronger. So I don't think that's a sacrifice Yamamoto would be willing to make. Now, I should probably talk about Everything But the Rain. It's good. It's probably one of the better parts of Thousand Year Blood War. It seems like these flashback things are generally really good. I'm not sure why. I guess it's probably because Kubo is focusing more on, like, characterization, whereas most of the rest of Bleach is about fighting. I don't know, actually. I don't know why. I don't know why Turn Back the Pendulum and Everything But the Rain are, like, better in quality than most of the series. I don't know what it is. But I just thought that's really good, seeing the origins of Ichigo's parents, and of course the conditions that led to his birth, why he's basically everything in the universe at the same time. It's very cool to see Ishin when he was a captain, though it's very weird that, like, no one bothered looking for him, unless I'm forgetting something important. It's just weird that no one was like, hey, whatever happened to Captain Shiba? Like, going to the human world, did no one ever, like, notice him or something? I understand why he stayed there, because he basically had to do it to make sure Ichigo's mom didn't die. But it's like, okay. It was also very cool to see Aizen, Gin, and Kaname again doing their thing. It's kind of jarring after not seeing them for a while, or at least not seeing Aizen as a captain for quite some time. So that was all really great, and I just thought overall that Everything But the Rain was probably one of the better parts of Thousand Year Blood War. Now, the big part of, well, the Thousand Year Blood War, because it's a war, but this arc in particular, this part of the arc, is the Ronin Right's second invasion of the Serete. We got a lot of fights out of it, and I'd say most of them were very good. Obviously the highlights, I would think, would probably be Komamura versus Bambi. Is that her name? The Explode. That was really good. Komamura only got, like, 2 great character moments in the manga. The first one was when he fought Kaname with Hisagi, and the other time is in this arc, where he basically gives up his life to get his Bankai back and become immortal, basically, for a couple minutes. That shit was really, really good. I just thought that whole sequence was really great for him. You know, the whole, or at least the scan I got of it, I've already left my life behind. I thought that was a fantastic line. And when he turns into, like, a doggy, and his lieutenant comes up and he's like, you didn't do anything wrong. Come on, we're gonna go beat you up. I thought that was fantastic. No, unfortunately, we never fucking see Komamura again in the manga. I don't know if he shows up in Can't Fear Your Own World, but I'm pretty sure we never see Komamura again, which sucks ass. Let's see, what after this? We got Rukia versus Aznot. That was fantastic, with Rukia finally unlocking her Bankai. And man, is Aznot's shrift fucking scary. Good God. Now, I mentioned in the last video that Byakuya not dying robbed Rukia of really great character development, and instead she got good character development. So her development here was still good, with Byakuya showing up and telling her that she's become strong, and she has a wonderful Bankai. I thought that was all really good stuff. But, once again, I feel like if Byakuya had died, you could have had something similar, but much better, where it's like Rukia having some kind of memory of Byakuya to... It's her using the image of Byakuya to, like, reassure herself of her own strength. instead of Byakuya showing up and basically giving her permission to use her Bankai, which it's not, but it's like basically what it is. He just shows up and he's like, use your Bankai, Rukia. Rukia, use your Bankai. I feel like it would have been better if it was her doing that on her own. But still, a very good fight. And of course, probably the last really big one for the invasion of the Seirete would be Kenpachi versus Gremmy. Just seeing Kenpachi tear through literally everything Gremmy can think of to throw at him. The fucking meteor. The reveal for Nozarashi is fantastic. It's really, really great. Seeing Kenpachi leap up into the air, say drink, or is I don't remember what the translation of it was that I read. I know there were a couple, but I think drink Nozarashi. That was the one, and it turns into the giant axe, and it cuts the fucking meteor in half. It was all great stuff. I'd say that the Sternritter being able to steal the captain's Bankai while being like a kind of an iffy thing to do, I still think it was good that it led to the captains finding ways to basically account for the loss of their Bankai and strengthening themselves without it. So you had Soifan using Shunko, I think that's what it's called. Then you've got Toshiro and Rangiku there, combo thing, Komamura's training, and then Byakuya in the Soul Palace learning about Senbon Sakura. That was all really cool stuff. And of course, at the end, we have Yua versus Ichibei, which was fucking nuts. Honestly, that's probably the best fight of 1000 Year Blood War. It was just so crazy. Reality warping hacks shit is always really nutty. So seeing how Kubo portrays that with Ichibei, whose power is basically ink, it was really cool. And of course, Yuha doing his thing. It was all really great stuff. Now, into some of the negatives. First big one is that Ichigo is gone for like almost the entire arc. Which wouldn't be too much of a problem necessarily, but my problem with it is he shows up, fights what are basically these low-tier the Sternritter girls. I'm really not impressed with them. I think they're kind of mid, to be honest. So he shows up and just fights these pretty average Sternritter, and then Yua, Hashfalt, and Uryu go up to the Soul Palace. So it's like, oh no, I just came back down from the Soul Palace and fought these trash-tier Sternritter. Well, time to go back up to the Soul Palace. It was like, bruh. Also, him gaining 2 swords, and then really the only thing he learns to do is, I can do Getsugu Tensho, but twice as good now, because there's 2 of them. It was like, you couldn't have thought of anything more creative. Now, I have 2 really big problems with the arc. First of which is that it feels like a lot of the side characters get shafted just so that other characters get time to shine. So I think of like Hisagi and Ikaku and Yumichika. Although Yumichika's thing with, oh god, what's her name? I don't know what the official translation was, or if this was the official translation, but Yumichika selling, you're a guy, aren't you? You smell like semen. Him basically telling her that she smells like cum. That was fucking hilarious. But unfortunately, you have them basically getting shit on by Sternritter just so that our main cast of characters can show up and beat the shit out of them. Probably the biggest offender of that in my mind would be Kensei and Rose getting shit on by... Is his name Masked a Masculine? I'm gonna call him the Star because I know that's what his, letter was. They totally should have been able to beat that guy with Rose's sound thing. Kubo just had to write it so that he explains to him what the ability is so he can figure out how to beat it. I fucking hate when authors do that shit, where a character should totally be able to win, but for some reason they feel the need to explain the way their ability works so that the enemy can figure out how to overcome it. And Kensei's Bankai is really good. Like, he punches you, and until his fist stops connecting with your body, you continuously experience the impact of the punch. That's a really good Bankai. But of course, they had to get shit on just so that Renji could show up and destroy that guy with his true Bankai. And I was like, really? You couldn't have just had them fight, I don't know, anyone else? Like some of those Sternritter that you never really showed a real on-screen fight for, like, Robert, you know, the, Colonel Sanders guy. And Nanana, like, you could have shown these people in fights, and instead you opted to have these characters get shit on just so that our main characters can show up and beat them. It's like, really? And now the biggest issue, I know everyone has this issue with this part of the arc, it's the Zero Division. So I like the Zero Division as characters. The problem is that they've been hyped up since Turn Back the Pendulum, and then 4 out of the 5 members, 3 out of the 5 members, if you want to be really generous, basically get off-screen by the Schutzstaffel. So Ichibei gets to show off. Ichibei is not disappointing in the slightest. The issue is that most of the other members of the Zero Division get fucking off-screen by the Schutzstaffel, which does a good job at showing how much of a threat the Schutzstaffel are, or at least in theory it does, but it makes the Zero Division look like fucking trash. And we never get to see what most of their full abilities are. There are at least 2 of them, both ladies. We never see what their fucking Shikai or Bankai are. We never get to see any of their Bankais except for Ichibei. And they all just get destroyed by Schutzstaffel off-screen. And the issue is that since we don't get to see what the Zero Division can do on-screen, it's left kind of ambiguous as to how powerful the Schutzstaffel are. So they show up, we have these characters that are implied to be very strong, and then they just defeat them off-screen. So you kind of screwed over both of them, and that you make the Zero Division look like trash, and you make it ambiguous as to how strong these new villains actually are. Now, we see how strong the Schutzstaffel are in the next part of the arc, but I guess I'll have to save that for next week's video. Speaking of which, next week I am wrapping up. I will be discussing the 3rd and final act of the 1,000-Year Blood War, the battle between the Gotei 13 and the Schutzstaffel in the Soul Palace. So, look forward to that. If you enjoyed this series, or you enjoy all the stuff I do on here, please like and subscribe. I will, of course, be finishing up this series next week, and I do some other series on my channel, that being Record of Ragnarok, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and Kengan Omega. So if you're interested in those, you should definitely check out my channel. If you enjoy discussing Bleach with other people, or you just enjoy the content I produce on this channel, I would highly suggest that you check out my Discord server. I have a link to it on my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.